take on the impact that Dr. Nujoma leaves for Namibia. Good morning, Governor, and thank you so much for making time for us.
Good morning, Denver, and good morning to all our Namibian listeners.
Governor, talk to us about the impact that the news of Dr. Nujoma's death has had on you and the people of Kunene.
I think, Denver, how best can one describe when a father figure in the household leaves us? I think as children of the house, we are devastated, we are afraid, but also we take then confidence into what the Father has taught us over the years and what He has done us to prepare us eventually for this moment when it comes. So I think as much as we are sad, we are also celebrating a life of a truly, truly remarkable icon that some of us are fortunate to have seen, heard, touched in our lifetime.
Yeah. Governor, the reality of the matter is that we were still recovering from a very big blow for just the past 12 months when this news struck. How has it been to deal with these two blows simultaneously?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it is a very heavy blow. Because I think when one reflects at when it happened and now how it happened, it is almost giving you back identical situation of what happened last year. So it has been very hard for us as the Namibian children of the Kunene region. We are reflecting on the life of His Excellency, Dr. Sam Nujoma, and equally we are being reminded of the precious life of Dr. Hage Gottfried Kingo. So it is a moment that, like I said, I'll probably say a bittersweet moment, where at once we are being reminded of these two remarkable leaders, but obviously the founding father in a class of his own. And then you are then immediately being reminded as leader of the people that you have been entrusted by His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba to say, as much as you want to cry, as much as you want to feel down, you need to be brave, and then you need to make sure that the people that you are entrusted can be served better in celebrating the lives of these two remarkable leaders.
Governor, you and I may not be deemed to be elders yet, but did you have any personal interactions with the late founding president?
I had a lot of personal interactions with the founding president. I was fortunate I served as a mayor once. I was fortunate I served as a governor at a very young age like I am. That's why, for me, Denver, I want to say I have been given a life blessing by God to have met, like I said, this remarkable icon, a father of a nation. Unlike other people who only get to read about a father of a nation. When you talk of America, the Washingtons, when you talk about others that died before some of us were born, of other African state countries, but we had an opportunity to interact with our founding father. What a good moment, what a good impact he has left in my life personally. And one of the moments I will never forget was about 2 years ago when I hosted him at Terrace Bay, his favorite fishing area, for 3 days, where we went to clean up together with the young people of Kunene, and particularly Sesfontein, where we went to clean up Sesfontein, Terrace Bay, and the beach area there. And I had a personal 3 days that I interacted with him, and he was giving me advices as a young leader, what to do, what not to do, and instilling discipline within me, and giving me that hope to say the burden of leadership is not an easy one, but when you have to carry it, no matter your age, you need to deliver for the best of the good of the Namibian people. So I think for me, it's something that I will cherish for the rest of my life on a personal note.
What a privilege, what an honor, Governor. What is it that you admired most about our founding president?
I think for me, bravery. Denver, I, speaking from my own recollection as a leader of what I've gone through, there are days you want to give up. There are days you want to let go and say, look, let me go focus on my personal life. But for a man to carry a task of liberating an entire country for more than 20, 30 years, and having then liberated the country without an experience of leading a country, coming back and leading a nation, reconciling those that were oppressing the oppressed, and then building a nation that includes everybody in the exclusive. And I think, Denver, if you have to compare at my young age, any country in Africa and how privileged we are, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's our education that all of us are guaranteed, whether it's our rights and freedom that we enjoy, where other young people in other countries, when they stand up against government, they are jailed, things happen to them, yeah? But in Namibia, I mean, we owe everything that we are to Dr. Sam Nujoma because his leadership, together with the rest of our heroes and heroines that he led, has brought us to this moment where we are enjoying. And I think, for me personally, what I admire about him is his leadership capability, but his bravery to have led Namibians without giving up to this moment.
Let's go deeper as far as that approach to leadership is concerned. Your counterpart from Khomas yesterday described Dr. Nujoma's approach to leadership as one whose his word was his command, she said. And you also spoke to us earlier about the honor that you had to spend 3 days with him, where he also taught you about the do's and the don'ts of leadership. What exactly are those do's and don'ts? And to what extent are you able to apply those fundamentals, those principles in your leadership journey?
Yeah, I think my counterpart is privileged because she has obviously grown up and being groomed in the era when the country was being liberated, and she's a direct beneficiary of Dr. Nujoma's leadership. And what an honor for a young guy like me to serve with Meme McLeod, because that she was taught is exactly what she has been impacting and grooming and nurturing a boy like me for the past 7 years. But then, coming back to your question directly, it is, I think, for me, what especially things I discussed with him, Denver, are things I have to take to the grave in terms of advices, personal advices he has given to me. But what the people who I serve would benefit from is obviously the change in personality they would be getting based on that interaction, based on that moment, based on the interactions I have daily with people in leadership and normal citizens of the country who have directly been impacted by Dr. Nujoma's leadership during the years of exile. Remember, Denver, when we were growing up, and when I was born, I was at least a very young boy when independence was celebrated for the first time. I don't even remember that particular day because I was, I think, 2 years old, if I'm not mistaken. But then, over the years, as I was going to school, as I was growing up, as we were being taught history, and the first interaction I had as a schoolboy with Dr. Nujoma, the presence of the men in the room, the presence already told you or taught you what is leadership. And I think for me, Dr. Nujoma is a good example to a young leader like me and others what you must be as a leader for your country. Remember, Denver, he has fought for our freedom and independence. We have now another fight, which is economic emancipation. And it has to happen in our lifetime. And that belief and zeal has to be drawn from the belief and bravery that Dr. Nujoma had when he was fighting for the independence of our country. So we must also believe as young leaders, irrespective of which political party we come from, the number one thing that I have learned from Dr. Nujoma is put Namibia first. We put Namibia first, and the war we are fighting, we must fight it united, irrespective of the corners that we are fighting it from. And that war is the one of economic emancipation that needs to happen in our lifetime. And Dr. Nujoma has impacted that in me. It has given me that appetite, even with my next role, with God's will, in the next 38 days when I go to Parliament. I think that's one of the things that I want to take up with that spear of Dr. Nujoma, where he has left it for us.
Governor, you earlier concurred with others who hailed him as being a very disciplined leader. Do you believe that the new crop of leaders are sufficiently disciplined to take this journey forward in honor of his legacy?
I think, Devin, it should be, for me, I would answer it two ways. I would say yes, because for me, leadership is also a continuous learning process. Yeah, and the environment and the actors in the environment and the aspects and the challenges you are facing in the environment of leadership are the ones that groom you daily to become a better leader every day of your life. Because I don't believe leaders are taught in school. I also don't believe leaders are probably taught from a handbook. I think leadership is the environment that teaches you, the community where you grow up, the people that you interact with. And I mean, for me, I think as a country, Dr. Nujoma has impacted 3 generations now. I think the one of the second president, the one of the third president, the one of the fourth and the current president of Tate Mbumba, the one of the incoming president, the fifth president, Meme Netumbo. And I think they also then have a responsibility to impact what they have learned from the founding to the rest of us. As we are also coming up, we are coming up with a ladder. We see, we interact, but we are not yet complete as leaders to be compared or even to be brought anywhere closer to Dr. Nujoma and the Dr. Mbumbas and the Dr. Netumbos. We are still work in progress. But I believe what has been set in motion by Dr. Nujoma is what we will become eventually, and that has to start now. Because if you also look at it, Denver, look at when, at what age Dr. Nujoma started taking up that leadership of going into exile. When Tate Mbumba went into exile, when Dr. Hagen, Dr. Pohamba, Dr. Netumbo went into exile, what they have done after coming back, how old they were, I think we are exactly at that stage. The only advantage we have that they didn't have is we are in a free and independent Namibia. And they have given that to us as a gift. Now, what do we do with that gift is what we must define now as leadership.
So what is on the cards for Kunene to commemorate, to honor the life and legacy of our founding president over the next couple of days and or weeks?
Denver, like we are now seated, we are busy drafting our memorial programs throughout the region. How we're going to do them. I think what we want to do, instead of bringing everybody to one center, we want to bring the platform of celebrating, of paying tribute, of mourning this icon and the founding father of our nation. We want to bring it to the people because our region is quite huge and vast. I think we will be announcing either tomorrow or today the venues, the places, the times, how we're going to celebrate it. We are then going to also interact and call upon our people to prepare, whether it's cultural groups, whether it is religious groups to perform, and for us to see in what way holistically we will be able to then celebrate the life of this great icon and our father of the nation. So I think there is quite a lot of planning that we are doing over this week. But I think most of it we will start implementing it next week so that we can see what befitting method we need to do in a manner of Kunene to send off our great one.
As we start to wrap up our conversation, Governor, do you have a message for your fellow residents of Kunene as well as your fellow Namibians at large?
I think for me, because we are part of the Namibian House, the message to the Namibian nation would be, yes, we are mourning, but let us celebrate. And let us keep to the teachings of this great icon. Let us celebrate his life. Let us not forget what he has done for us. Let us make sure that whatever we are doing now to celebrate, we record it so that we can keep it for generations to come, because those that are not privileged like us to have seen, to have interacted, to have touched Tate Nujoma, needs to see what he meant to the Namibian nation at his time of departure. So I think I just want to also extend my condolences to all Namibians, and also just to wish them strength and wisdom from above, from God, more especially the family and the President of the Republic of Namibia, because Denver, this is the second time the current head of state has to lead the nation in the darkest moments of this independent Namibia. So I wish him strength, I pray for him, and I wish him a lot of wisdom to make sure that all of us celebrate this life to the fullest of Dr. Sam Nujoma.
Governor, it's always such a privilege to engage you. Do you have any final thoughts before we say goodbye to you?
I'm good, Denver. I'm very good.
Okay, Ayos, Governor.
Thank you.